Hi guys, this is Dr. Sadashivam once again with you. And in today's session, we're going to talk about a very important concept that is predictive irrationality. Very, very important concept. Knowingly or unknowingly, we are seeing that in most of the advertisement, sales promotion schemes, we are seeing that. So whether you are a strategizer, whether you are a manager of an organization, whether you are a salesperson handling sales in your region, this concept is going to be very, very important for you. My name is Dr. A. Sadashivam. I'm MPhil in the degree of entrepreneurship, and I have a PhD degree in the area of management from Birla Institute of Technology, Mesra, Ranchi. And in today's session, we will be looking at some important concepts, starting with introduction to predictive irrationality. We will be talking about some of the psychological factors used in this concept, and we will also be talking about what defines rationality and how it affects our everyday decision-making process, and what is the difference between rational thinking and irrational thinking, and how some of those elements can be predicted, the effect of cognition in our everyday lives, and of course, we will be summarizing all the points learned after the session. And now, typically, our normal training sessions start with lots of interactions between the trainer and the participants. But of course, this is not a full-fledged training program. I'm just giving you a gist of a two-day training program in just 10 or 15 minutes. In a normal training program, we take the participants through something called as a poll questions, where we ask the participants whether they have heard of this term or not. And one by one, we start decluttering some of the complexities involved in this concept. Now, as far as the psychology of consumer behavior is concerned, this is absolutely not new to all of us, because every day we are consumers buying a whole lot of things from the market, starting from your newspapers, your vegetables, your accessories, laptops, and a host of other things. You're all consumers. So generally speaking, how do consumers decide? What is the basis of their purchase decisions? You look at this concept, a lot of things are involved, right? From what to buy, where to buy, how much to buy, from whom to buy, at what prices to buy. Do they buy it again? If yes, buying it again from the same person, recommendation to others. All these are parts of consumer psychology. Now, as an introduction to predictive rationality, what does predictive rationality mean? Typically, this means that as human beings, we have both these aspects in our mind, both emotional and rational, especially things when it concerns human behavior. Now, what is the relevance of it? The relevance of it is marketeers, even before designing an advertising campaign, they use these concepts in order to ensure that the consumers visit them, and not only visit them for their first purchase, but they retain those customers for life. So customers come in all hues, shapes, and sizes. Some are rational, some are irrational, some are emotional. But all said and done, irrationality can be predicted. How can it be predicted? We will be looking at certain examples. And before we look at some examples about predictive irrationality, we need to know about a very, very important person in this particular subject. So can you identify this person? I'm sure some of you who have done your MBA in marketing, you will be able to predict the name of this person. Yes, you're right. He's Don Arley. He's an Israeli-American professor, and he was a professor of behavioral economics in the Duke University. He earned PhD in cognitive psychology from the North Carolina University, and he taught at MIT between 1998 and 2008. So many of us path-breaking researchers in this particular subject, they have been implemented by various organizations throughout the world. Now, he talks a lot about it. In fact, he has written a whole book on this particular subject, It's very difficult for anyone to encapsulate the contents of the whole book into a 10-minute training series. But he typically talks about how people think, how they behave, how they use their existing knowledge, existing information in their purchase decisions, and to what extent they facilitate others in order to buy the same. All these aspects are dealt with in detail in this particular subject of psychology. So he talks a lot about how psychology is used in the field of consumer behavior, and he's come out with lots and lots of examples. So normally in a training session, we take each of these examples, explain one or two examples, and allow the participants to come up with their own examples, what can be best used, in order to bring in a little bit of creativity and innovation in their respective areas of work, so that they will be able to do their sales job in a much better thing. So some of the examples taken from Don Arley's book is a picture like this. At the first instance, you will find that the one on the left is longer than the one on the right, but actually the sizes of both of them are the same. In a training program, what we do is we make the participants measure these, and then it is an path-breaking insight for them that both measure the same. But when you look from outside, they seem to be different. The left one seems to be longer than the right one. So many of us are fooled by such things. You can call them illusion to a large extent, and there are lots and lots of examples. So each of the concepts used in sales and marketing, they're also illusory, because all said and done, any marketing campaign, any advertisement campaign, they seek to change the mindset of customers. I also request you not to attach a bad connotation to this. Sales and marketing does not have absolutely any bad connotations. When we talk about these words like illusion, etc., some people might tend to take it in the wrong way, but please don't do that. Because by marketing and sales, it increases the consumption. When the consumption is increased, the demand increases, the supply increases, production increases. It leads to large-scale improvement in the economy from a macroeconomic point of view. So that's one, contribution to the country, and the whole country develops as a result of people consuming, demanding, and consuming more. So it's something done for the welfare of the country also. So don't attach any bad connotations to this. The second example he talks about is a very interesting example. We will be taking up these kind of examples in great length during training programs, which unfortunately I'm not able to explain in detail in a short, brief session like this. This was about organ donation, the willingness of the people to donate their organs. Like it was done in few countries like Denmark, Netherlands, United Kingdom, Germany, in which the survey proved that very few people are willing to donate their organs, some 4%, so 28% in Netherlands, 17% in UK, and 12% in Germany. But if you look at the other countries like Australia, Belgium, France, Hungary, Portugal, Spain, Poland, Sweden, etc., the number of percentage of people who are willing to donate their organs are as high as 100, in most of those countries, and of course, few countries the percentage was just 98, but there's a significant difference between these two set of countries. But if you compare the cultures of these countries, they're all West European countries, most of them, and they share a similar background. They share a common culture, subculture. Genetically, they are made. They are the same people. But what explains this kind of a difference? Dan Harley's conclusion was very simple. The mindset is absolutely not different, but the questionnaire which was made in order to get this answers was different. Because in the first part, in the first 5 countries, that is Denmark, Netherlands, United Kingdom, and Germany, the question was, check the box below if you want to participate in the organ donation program. And as in most of the cases, you put the survey, people don't check in anything. They just leave things blank. So from which they inferred that only 4% and 28%, 17%, 21%, they were willing to donate their organs. But on the other side of countries, if you have a feeling that most of them are really willing to donate their organs, please think again, because in these countries which recorded 100%, the question was opting out. Check the box below if you don't want to participate in the organ donors program. And here again, nobody clicked, nobody put a check mark, checked the box. As a result of which, the inference was everybody who didn't check the box was willing to donate the organs. So it's just the kind of questions. In both the cases, one inference is most of the people were not willing to check the box, right? So that's one path-breaking example. And there was another example which involves one of the greatest, the most reputed magazines, which is economist.com, in which they made a subscription like this. This was from Don Ollie's book. He said Economist subscription is $59, just the subscription, 1 year subscription, which includes online access to all the articles from The Economist since 1997. Whereas the print subscription was $125 and print and web subscription was $125. This actually came as an, in one of the advertisements, but later they got that changed. So initially when they did that, if you look at the Economist subscription curve, 84% of the people subscribed for print and web subscription, 84%. Only 16 people subscribed for this. What explains the difference? Example is very, very clear. When they made it like this, without the print subscription price, only this and this, look at how much their preferences have changed. From 16%, it went up to 68%. And for the print and web subscription, it went down from 84 to 32%. Now, if you look at this particular concept, this print subscription has no meaning at all. It does not serve any purpose. But the introduction of this particular factor in between, you can quickly see how much it has played an effect in the overall subscriptions. It has increased, it has increased from 16% to 68%, and it has decreased from 84% to 32%. So how much these kind of schemes, arrangements of schemes can matter in the final business outcomes is for all of you to see. Right. Same thing you can see in cinema, movies, theaters when you go there. You find a small box of popcorn costing 120. You find a medium one, which is far bigger in size than this, which is available at 140. But when you go for this big, the big one is available for 150. So most of the time you will find that this is what is getting sold. And that's the objective of the man who is running the outlet also, because he doesn't want to sell this. His original intention is to sell more of this, and they meet their objective by placing other components of the advertisement in these ways. That's how pricing plays a very important role. You can find a whole lot of examples, like in your gymnasium. You go there, they give you a 1 year scheme for 12,000 rupees. But if you want to take their scheme for 1 month, they might charge you as high as 3,000 or 4,000 rupees. So all these are aspects of business. So typically when you talk about the aspects of buying behavior, there are 5 important stages from a theoretical standpoint of view. And those are stages pertaining to when you recognize a problem, and then how do you search for information, then how do you evaluate alternatives, then finally you arrive at a purchase decision, and then of course after purchasing you have a post-buying behavior. So in this psychology of consumer behavior, everything is important, starting from rationality in buying behavior, your emotions which are involved in the buying behavior. So what defines rationality? Rationality is quantifiability. This has a lot of relevance in sales, marketing, strategy, and everything to do with seller-buyer perspectives. So basically, human beings are very emotional, and emotions do strike a chord. Look at this advertisement. In fact, I showed this advertisement in one of the training programs We did for Hindustan Petroleum, and guys, all of them liked it. This is a very, very emotional advertisement. This is Gillette's advertisement, talking about a father and a son and why a good shaving blade is required. You know, how they bring in that emotional element in their advertisement, right? So, of course, we give a lot of these kind of exercises in a training session. This is just a synopsis of what we cover. And most important, we cover a lot of appeals. It's not just one. We talked about this personal, emotional appeal, but you have various appeals like personal appeal, scarcity appeal, social appeal, statistical appeal, fear appeal, endorsement, romantic, youth, adventure, popularity, brand appeal. These are some of the appeals that most of these advertisements focus on. And it's not just advertisements, even in your communication with your customers, depending on who the customer is, depending on what product you are selling, the salespeople, professional salespeople can use all these appeals, but they need to be very judicious in the use of all these. Otherwise, all that will turn out to be a very artificial sales talks, as a result of which you will not be able to touch the heart and mind of the customer, which is extremely important. So the degree with which each of these appeals need to be used is what is extremely important. It's like adding salt to your food. Too little salt, you will not be able to consume. But if you put too much salt, once again, it becomes very difficult to consume. So these are some of the aspects that we would cover in a full-fledged training program. And of course, there will be post-assessment in terms of what participants have learned from this training course and how they will be putting their knowledge and learnings into use in their practical, ultimate result of any training program is to ensure that salespeople sell more, your business volumes increase, your price realizations increase, your discounts reduce, your customer retention increases. These are some of the parameters based on which we will be assessing a salesperson's performance, and various KPIs and KRAs in your respective organizations. They will all be assessed. Put that into practice, and then your whole sales curriculum will be designed for them. There will be question and answers to clarify their doubts. And I'm duty bound to quote some of the sources from which we've taken some of the elements of the training program, starting from Consumer Books by Leon Chiffon, Leslie Lazar-Kanu, etc. They're all available in the Pearson's register. Okay, guys, this is Dr. Sadashivam signing off till we meet again. And for your sales training workshops, do contact me on this telephone number, and I've given my internet site for you to visit the sites and know more of what we do. Bye-bye, guys. It's been so good interacting with you. Bye-bye till we meet again. Jai Hind.